This is the functional dynamic stretching series. This is the hamstring stretch. The foot will be elevated on a surface that gives you a little bit of a stretch in the hamstring once you do this positioning. The toes are neither all the way up or all the way down. You're just sort of sitting on the corner of your heel. Your knee is bent slightly, not locked straight. Pelvis is squared up, and as you stick your butt out, you create that stretch. Now when you get in that position, what we'd like to see you do is a little bit of side-to-side gliding or swaying. Now you can hold on to something if you need to or not, and slowly swaying back and forth, side to side, to get different parts of that hamstring. And then after doing that maybe 5 or 6 times, gently swiveling or turning side to side. Again, you're getting different parts of that hamstring. Excellent. The next stretch is the front hip or the hip flexor. So you'll notice that now your foot goes up on a stairway, but that front knee is going to bend substantially. To some degree, the higher the better that you get that leg. As you press your hips forward, you're going to get a stretch in the front of that hip, the hip flexor area. And then as she comes around and faces us again, you're going to notice the same thing we did in the hamstring. We're going to move side to side. That's called the frontal plane. You're getting different parts of those hip flexor fibers. After doing that 5 or 6 times back and forth slowly, then we would do pivoting. And you'll increase that stretch a little bit if you lean back a little bit. You can even put your hands behind your head to make it even a little bit more challenging. That's an awesome stretch. All right, the next one is the soleus, or the lower ankle / Achilles area. So the first thing we're going to do is lean on a table or a stairway or bleachers, or in this case a chair. The knees are bent. The back leg is the one being stretched. The real key here is to keep the back of that foot facing completely forward. We often like to have the front foot toed in a little bit. And if that front foot is toed in, and the body is turned over the foot a little bit, and you can go ahead and toe that foot in a little bit more, turn it inward, left foot inward, and then the body is turned over that. That helps keep some of the alignment of the back of the foot ankle better. And when we do that stretch, we're going to do the same thing where you're moving side to side 5 times and swiveling or turning 5 times to get at different fibers of that calf area. Okay, the next one is the gastroc, or the calf. This is the whole calf, the bigger part of the calf. We're going to do the same orientation. The back leg is the stretch leg. That foot has to face completely straight ahead. The opposite foot is most likely going to need to be turned inward slightly. And that's in order to avoid that back leg's knee collapsing inside of the big toe. We'd really like to see that back knee facing over maybe the 2nd, 3rd, 4th toes more so. You'll notice that what she's doing in this position then is go ahead and beginning that functional movement pattern of swaying side to side 5 times, swiveling or turning 5 times. Again, we want to get through those different combination motions to get after all the fibers of that foot, ankle, calf. All right, next is the front quad stretch. We like to see this done in standing. It's a little bit more authentic to what's going to happen as a runner versus kneeling on the ground. There's a number of ways to get at your quad. But when that right back leg quad needs to be stretched, the front leg is going to be out in front of it. So we like to see in this position, leaning heavy on the front leg, sitting down into a little bit of a squat, and then leaning backwards. And as you lean backward while that leg is behind you, you're going to get that stretch in the front of the quad. Now you'll notice that what she does here is goes to the front of the table, so you can see the view of what happens here when we add in that little swiveling and turning while she's leaned backward. Now we're getting at the outer and the inner fibers of that quad, and the same thing happens as she does the twisting. Again, it's difficult. You can use something to hold on to for balance, but in order to do this, we got to keep those shoulders back and in that semi-squat. So there's a lot going on here, but it's an excellent stretch. Okay, the front corner of the iliotibial band, we're going to go into a stride stance with a slight toe in. Very important to press the medial border, the inside border of that shoe down. Go ahead and let your outside border roll out. That's what we don't want to happen during this stretch, is for that foot to roll out like an ankle sprain. So you're going to hold the big toe side down real firmly. You're going to press your hips slowly over toward the side. That should give you your first stretch. That opposite side hand is going to tip reach down toward the hip. Toward the knee, sorry, and then the same side hand is going to swivel back. Then you can gently pulse that reach, and we do that maybe 10 times, pulsing the reach, tipping down hand while you turn back with the other hand. And that's the combination right there. Really got to hold that big toe down. We're losing power here. We've got 5% left, so, okay. Front TFL.
I don't know how to do this one.
This one is, go ahead and stand face me. Turn out your right foot slightly. Toed out slightly. Yep, right foot ballet behind you in a T. In a T, not toe to heel, not ballet like that. Heel, like a T. So you're here, a T. Not a V. A T. Okay. Yeah, now get 2-3 inches away. Gap your feet 3 inches. Okay, so you're going to be really heavy on your right leg and press your hips to the right. Let your left leg go sloppy. Let your left knee bend sloppy. And then your right hand would cross reach. Okay, you put your left hand on your hip. Okay.